Everybody, welcome to week 5 of CRJU 302. This week is chapter 3, and we're going to be dealing uh, with the law section. Not really loving this section. I think they could have done a better job on it in the book, but there's a lot of material in it, in the whole book, and it's tough to get it all. This week is your first exam. Remember, don't put it off. I think it becomes available to you on Thursday. I did that because I want you to have some time or take some time to prepare for the exam. Make sure you've read all the material critically, and then you've also done your other work to make sure that it's that you have a good handle on what we've been talking about. As far as the written assignments or the new second half of the course, I just saw that people weren't doing as well in the written papers as I wanted, meaning that I felt that having that Monday through Thursday, getting your draft in on Thursday and then your final paper on Tuesday, just wasn't enough time. So what's going to happen now in your written assignments is you'll get the assignment, you'll write the draft, turn that in by that Sunday, and then you have the next week to prepare your final document. You've seen, I'm pretty particular. I want you to think about things when you are writing. I want you to think about the implications of it. I want you to think about what may also spring from it. You can't go too far away, but make sure that you put some extra thought into it. So, that being said, let's talk about the law enforcement and the law. Just a whole ton of things that the cops have to know. First off, we'll talk about the criminal law. And what the criminal law is known as substantive criminal law. It's the penal code, the vehicle code, things that are actually illegal. Remember, the state police, only on rare exceptions, deal with federal crimes. Other than the time that I worked for the feds in a separate deal, I only worked with federal crimes on one occasion, and that was a dope case where the people had a house within, it's like 1,000 yards or something of a school, and they were selling drugs out of the place. That's a federal offense, so we got some help from the DEA on it. So the cops are going to be worried about state law, whatever state they're in at the time that they make an arrest. Let's say the cops follow somebody into Nevada for a state crime, a California crime. They make an arrest. Guy's going to go probably to Nevada jail, and then California's going to have to extradite, go through a legal process to get him returned to the state. Criminal law is going to be CRJU 340. Great class, love that class. And you'll learn about the different elements of crimes, what you need to have a crime. You need actus reus, which is a voluntary act. You need mens rea, which is the mental component, required mental state. You need concurrence of those two, and any attendant circumstances, and then finally social harm. So if you get those things all together, then you have a crime that will have been enumerated in one of the criminal law sections in the state code, or I should say state codes. Then you have procedural criminal law. Procedural criminal law is the idea of how laws are enforced. And that goes back to the 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendment. Officers have to be pretty up to speed on those things. Unfortunately, many officers just kind of go by the way they feel, and then they maybe heard about a case, and nobody really puts it into a framework for them. When I teach to cops and teach 350, CRJU 350, I try to put it into a framework that a person can look at and make some judgments as to whether their actions are valid or invalid. And a lot of change. There was a significant change in the laws of search incident to a lawful arrest. Well-settled law, 40 years, and the Supreme Court in Arizona versus Gant changed that. Really, the commentators, it makes a lot of sense. Unfortunately, as a police supervisor, I see it as a way for officers to get hurt by leaving people unhandcuffed, leaving them near vehicles, just because of a literal interpretation of the facts and circumstances. So that is the procedural criminal law. Really enjoy it. That's a great class when you take it, especially if you're going to law enforcement. Spend some time with it. Really try to get it figured out, because it will really be good for you in your career. The next thing that we have is the civil law. And the police have to be pretty up to speed on civil law. And those would be torts, contracts. When you have civil or wrongs, I guess, between individuals, really important to have a good handle on that and know what you're doing with that. So those are the two big areas of the law. I should say three big areas of law: substantive criminal law, procedural law, the my clock got me on my train of thought. Civil law, and then finally there's one other area, is administrative law, and that's where things are punishable by crimes. And it's interesting because when you look at the rule of law, which we talked about, the rule of law suggests that there is a procedure to make law. Well, administrative law goes outside of that procedure, and it's a government official who's been appointed, not elected, by someone who then will make a rule that can impact an individual, impact businesses, and you see that in both the federal and the state side. And you hear about that, quite a bit. So administrative law is another part of the law. So think of those four types of law, those four sections of law, as you read the chapter. With that, good luck on the exam. I hope all of you just knock it out. And when we get our next writing assignments, really take the time to look at the question deeply and try to push yourself to come up with some really good ways to look at things. With that being said, I think that probably is my favorite saying this semester so far. That being said, I'll see if I can come up with something new in the future. I can't guarantee it, but I'll give it a try.